Likes. Oh, we're live.
We're live? There we go.
What was that? That was like a rubber duck.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
I haven't talked to you in a long time, actually.
That's right. Well, I was away in Malaysia last week.
Yeah, how was Malaysia?
Malaysia was good. Malaysia was truly Asia. I ate nothing but satay for like 6 days and put on like 4 kilos. Yes.
Yeah? Oh, sorry, that's me. That's me doing the typical keeping the speakers on. Okay. Okay, it's off. Go ahead.
No. So no, I ate lots of awesome food, and no, it was really cool. Malaysia was cool. I got lots of crappy cheap T-shirts and stuff like this, which were all made in Thailand.
That's a cool T-shirt. Yeah, I like it. I bet you cost less than the T-shirts we're selling.
Speaking of which, I was going to go and put the links under the video, which I should go and do. So I've had to go and try to track down the video, the ones that you designed. I really like the latest one, the Jason Horton one, the one with the 2 heads and the 2.5 Oyaji in the middle.
It's sold 5 already, so that's doing well. That's good, yeah. I like that one.
Sorry?
Yeah. I like that one too.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
Hello, what's wrong? Can you not hear me? What's wrong?
I don't know. You seem to be talking to yourself. I'm just letting you finish.
No, I'm talking to you, actually.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, I was just saying.
I like the last one, too. It was good. And it sold 5 already. Oh, it sold 7. Already 7. Woo-hoo!
So, So this is, you found the site through what Jason, I don't actually know the story behind how you found this.
I found the site a long time ago, and I had forgotten about it because when I originally found the site, I didn't like the graphics they had. They had limited graphics, and they were a pain in the ass to use. Yeah. And I kind of gave up on it, and then I saw Jason doing a T-shirt on it, and I checked my records, and yeah, I already had an account there. I didn't even realize. Okay. Yeah, but anyway, they're okay. There are a lot of other places that do similar things.
So how does this work? Where it says reserve it now, does that mean even if they don't get towards the goal, people will still get the shirts, or do they have to order 29 for the shirts to be produced?
They have to order at least 29 for them to be produced. Okay,
so the 7 sold towards goal of 29 means that, and I ordered one of those, so I don't get a shirt.
I'm going to order 3 or 4 in a few days. I'm still
taking orders for more.
My area.
But the point being, I won't get my shirt unless 22 other people order, right?
Right.
Okay. No,
I think we may get the orders. We have quite a bit of time.
So that's the one I like right there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like it. Although the screen is in reverse. That's interesting. Anyway. This is one which I was actually just designing myself.
Oh, that's not bad.
So, but the problem is that there's too many variations of grey, and it makes it more than 10 colors. But rather than having the red on the white background, I quite like the idea of just having a red shirt with the white.
That's not bad. That's pretty good too.
Pretty good. So I'm kind of playing around with that. But the problem is if we have too many, then people won't order the critical mass. How do you decide that 29 is the target? Do you just set that target randomly, or is that like a production thing? Just randomly?
Yeah.
So if I went to compete with you,
no reason, arbitrary. Yeah.
So if I designed it like this by myself, and I put this up by myself, and I made it a lower price than you,
you could outsell me. Maybe.
I could totally undercut you.
Yeah, like the Chinese do.
Yeah, well, that's what we did with English teaching, isn't it? The New Zealanders, we came and we undercut you, overpriced Peruvians.
Overpriced Peruvians. Then the Mexicans came and they out bid or lowballed everybody. So
yeah, okay. Well, that's totally what. Okay, so everybody, you can see the shirt that I'm designing. So actually, I've already ordered the Victor one anyway, and we need 29 of those for people to get their orders fulfilled.
22 more. I'll order 3 or 4. So.
And I think that they're cool. So basically, go and I might go and order some more because I'd love to see this produced. So this one is really cool. That is true. However, I'm also going to release a version of this one, which was designed by. You know what? Who was this designed by? I've got the thing there. Gorilla Mail. Okay, this was an anonymous one, but I think it was awesome. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
and I'm going to undercut Victor like the Mexican that I am. And if you're interested, if you like that design,
well, for that
one, that one as well, maybe cheaper. I don't know. But there's some really, aren't those thumbnails great? Oh, and you know what else? The other one I was actually thinking that I really like for the thumbnails, and since I'm doing the action cam thing at the moment, boom.
I might get that third one too.
In fact, where is it? Where's the cartoon one? Did you see that cartoon thumbnail?
The big head ones?
No.
No, I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
After the deadline, and for whatever reason, I think one of us missed it. But where is it?
Oh, someone sent it.
Not this one. Albums. Entries. This one. Did you see this?
Oh yeah, I did see that. That is pretty cool. I think we both look a little bit older in cartoon form though.
That is really cool. I mean, it's not maybe not so much a T-shirt thing, but I'm totally. I think today this is what I'm going to use as a thumbnail today because I think this is an awesome thumbnail.
Who sent that in?
You know what? I've labeled it, but on my other computer. So usually I have the sender here, but it's there somewhere. It's there somewhere. But yes, I totally missed it when they first sent it to me. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I mean, people. And here's the thing, I guess. There's no deadline with the thumbnail thing. I mean, we've kind of announced winners and so on, and we're going to keep doing things that way. But you know, if you've got an awesome thumbnail, we want to use it. You know, and some of the creativity, the good sense, and some of the designs that have come in are cool, right? So, you know, any time, anyone, we'll keep adding them in. Yeah, I love those things which came in. And I don't know. So just for an indication from the peanut gallery. In terms of the shirt designs, everyone's seen Victor's shirt design that's already up there, which is pretty well. It's actually I think the guy's Jason Horton, who
Hugh Janus, right?
Hugh Janus. Hikoshine. Someone sent in here. Oh, that's supposed to be a thumbnail. Is that it? Did you see the Hikoshine?
No. Show me that.
I've got to show you the Hikoshine. Well, the thing is, it's just me. It's not really 2.5 Oyajis. It's kind of just me. Someone made this. I'm a little fukuzatsu about the whole thing, but it does look pretty good. Hang on a sec. Let me just. Whoa! That's getting way too small. Wait a minute. Let me just zoom this in appropriately. So someone created this Hikoshine, and I'm sorry because this is showing mirror at the moment. That they get into focus.
Oh, Embrace. How come Embrace is... Oh, yeah, there it is. The shine.
Hikoshine. I'm not bold. I'm Hikoshine. Embrace the shine.
What product is this?
Someone just randomly tweeted it at me.
Someone just tweeted me a Godfather picture. Maybe it's the same person. I don't know.
Yeah. So Nombi Hikoshine is cool indeed, but just for the comments. So I just want to ask in the comments. So if we, I mean, I personally, I'm an advocate. I want to get to 29. I want to get a shirt. So everyone go and order the Victor, the Oyaji shirt, which Victor put up, which I think is an awesome design. I really love it. But also tell me if I actually go ahead and put on the design which I'm playing around with at the moment, would people order it? Especially if I undercut him?
Why don't we wait till this one comes out and?
Yeah, I'm just kind of interested in seeing what the comments are like. Anyway,
I did a
bit of a lag with this.
On the other ones I picked the highest quality T-shirt, so it was more expensive. On this one I picked the cheapest T-shirt, and I lowered the price. That's why it's only $19. So.
I'm going to use New Zealand pricing on you. I'm going to put everything into, I don't know, what's an expensive currency? Like Norwegian kroner or something.
All right. I'm way behind on the news. I have no idea what's been happening. I've been working all week.
Okay. Well, in terms of the big news,
I don't know what's happening.
I've got one. Did you hear about the vagina lady?
No.
You didn't
no, I did not.
How did you not hear? Have you not looked at your Facebook feed and felt the vagina outrage currently? So, and on my feed at the moment,
is that really her name, the vagina lady?
There are 3 different people protesting angrily about the vagina lady incident.
No.
Okay, shall I fill you in on the vagina?
Yeah, please tell me.
Okay. As a dad, I feel like I have to practice this talk.
Is this with vagina and maggots?
No, not at all. There's a lady, an artist, who makes vagina-related art. Specifically, she's designed a boat, apparently, in the shape of a vagina, and apparently she knowingly, apparently she uses a mold, and it takes about 5 minutes that she applies, and then it generates like a plastic mold, which she then did a 3D scan of in order to adapt it like digitally into the shape of a boat, which she then transmitted to another person who specifically asked for the 3D digital data. And apparently, upon catching a lady sending 3D digital data of her private parts, the police actually intercepted the transmission and came and arrested the lady for broadcasting obscenity, based on the determination that transmitting 3D printed data for one's genitalia constitutes a violation of the pornographic sensory law thing.
Wow. How would I find this? I don't even know.
No.
Can you do a search on Facebook for this? I have no idea what you're
like, well, it's not exactly leading NHK, I admit, but it's been getting a lot of attention. This is like, so for example, Ren.
But you know how many men send pictures of their penises to people? I mean, idiots. How come they're never arrested?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
We sold another T-shirt.
Heard of such a thing.
Another T-shirt. Every time we sell T-shirt, I hit you, right? There we go, another T-shirt.
Yeah. Every time a man sends.
Every time you say vagina, I'll hit you.
God kills a kitten.
Vagina.
So, and the fact there was that New York senator or that guy who kept sending pictures of his private parts to people, wasn't there? So he'd be in jail in Japan for that. So this lady was actually...
This happened in Japan? This woman sent her vagina...
yes, so that's why she was arrested, because, in Japan, they have to censor the private parts.
Oh, right.
So when I first heard it...
Oh, wait, was there any pubic hair? Because pubic hair is a big deal. I don't think if you don't have no pubic hair, it's okay, I think.
Well, probably if I received the data, I'd have to go to jail too. I don't know. But as you know, I mean, as we're all familiar, in Japan, technically under the law, like, all that stuff has to be mosaicked or blacked out or whatever, right?
Vagina artist arrested in Japan. Okay, we'll talk about it.
There you go, you found it. So this makes perfect sense. But in that sense, it's kind of consistent. In the same extent that if you buy a Playboy magazine in Japan, that they're all actually, censored and actually drawn over with like a black pen.
They still do that?
I don't know. I honestly, I
haven't looked at a Playboy in years.
I haven't even tried looking at a Playboy magazine in Japan since 1997. But
you're old when you just pass by the porn section. You don't even think of looking. Whatever. I know magazines.
Yeah. But that said, the videos, whatever, I thought it sounded consistent. But then someone made a really good point on their Rage thread on Facebook, pointing out to me that you go to the Kanamatsuri, right? Mm-hmm. And there are nothing but 3D representations of phalluses. So the comment was, "This is sexist." I was like, "How is this sexist?" It's just
there are vaginas there too, though.
Sorry?
There are vaginas there too. They sell lollipop vaginas.
Okay, well, but the police, this is the thing. I mean, there are 3D phalluses in any shape and form, whatever, going all over the place at any given time in Japan. But someone transmits a vagina, and the possessor of the genitalia becomes arrested. It's an interesting. Is there a double standard? Is this digital 3D printing sexism?
Well, the problem is that here's the thing about men and women. Okay, and I'm not joking about this. Men can see their penis. We know what our penis looks like, so we're not shocked.
I could definitely, in a lineup, I could probably pick which one. That one is number 3.
You could probably say, "Oh, that's my penis."
That's it. That's it. I know that one anywhere.
Women do not. He looks. That photo is no good. It adds 10 pounds. Okay. But women are not used to seeing vaginas, and definitely not their own vaginas. So they're kind of disgusted by their own vagina in general. So it's something that when you teach women to appreciate their own body, you hand women mirrors, what is it called? What are those mirrors on handles called? I don't know. But in college, I took a sex ed class, and they told the women go home and get a hand mirror and look at your vagina for a while. Well, that was your homework. Just look at it and tell us how you feel about it, and tell us if it changes.
You know the problem with the lag with the comments. So I'm just looking at the comments while you speak, and I noticed that Emily Louise Maitland just commented that she just ordered one. I'm not even. I think she's talking about the shirts.
Not a 3D vagina.
I don't know. I mean, whatever works.
But from what I've seen, you can buy sex dolls in Japan that are anatomically correct, right? I imagine those have anatomically correct vaginas, though I've never seen one.
So I think what's happening here is this is a conflagration of media hysteria. In terms of with media hysteria, there's the big mass panic around the 3D printers printing guns. There's that guy who printed a bunch of guns and uploaded the videos onto YouTube. And ever since then, the news has had these specials of the new threat of 3D printing coming to Japan, and that must be stopped. And the government set up a committee to find out ways to regulate and restrict and prohibit consumer use of 3D printing, which I think is really stupid and short-sighted, but they're doing it. So when you get the police who are afraid of 3D printing and finding ways to demonize it, and you have the opportunity to combine that demonized practice of 3D printing with vagina, it's like the perfect storm. It's like two typhoons coming into the same place and merging and making one bigger typhoon for the police and to make a big news story about the evils of 3D printing. I think that's what this is really about, because as you say, I mean, the stuff is there in 3D representation form everywhere, so why prosecute the transmission of data about it? Why not go and actually raid the rubber chicken factories or something?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's been a really big news topic, and as Jason's also channel points out.
Yeah, that's a slow news day when the biggest news is some woman sent her a picture.
Well, there are actually more than one story. There's more than one story about this on Rocket News, which I think is the leading news organization in Japan. Is a pretty good measure of the importance of the story.
They break all the big stories. But you know what's funny is, have you seen a picture of the woman?
Yeah, she looks kind of
like a very vivacious, funny, and clever girl.
Sorry.
And from here, she has a great smile. She looks really spry. I think she'd be a great old lady someday too. And she looks like a beautiful young woman, but not the woman you'd think would 3D her vagina.
Wikipedia, by the way, I think is making a legitimate point. She's calling you the fucking king of morons. She's taking offense, and I agree. By the way, I'm going to call bullshit on the comment that she is also calling bullshit on. When you said that women aren't used to seeing their vaginas and they're disgusted by them, she's kind of saying bullshit, and I think it probably is. It's an interesting theory, however, and as guys with no women around to criticize or speak on the topic, I think we can say it.
No, you can't see your own vagina if you're a woman.
Sure,
you can't see it like that. You can't see it exactly like that. You have to make an effort.
Hey, that's why Steve Jobs put a front-facing camera on the iPhone. Yeah, it's got endless uses.
This is not my theory, Wikipedia. Okay, this is what my sex ed, who is a very, very cool woman, teacher in college at New York University, pointed out to us that women don't know they can't draw their own vagina. If you ask a woman to draw her own vagina, she can't do it. She doesn't know how many lips are in there and everything. She doesn't. I'm not joking.
Have you?
Agree with me, but I mean, Wikipedia, just because you have a vagina doesn't mean you're an expert about vaginas. I don't have a vagina, but I know quite a bit about them. I put a lot of time into studying vaginas and the way women. Think about the vagina. And women are generally more, they're more turned off by vaginas than men are. Well, men are not turned off by vaginas. You never see women taking pictures of their vaginas and sending to people. They take pictures of their breasts. Yeah, men are stupid. They think, oh, my penis is beautiful, and they send pictures of their penises to people.
I take everything you're saying.
Explain that.
And with the greatest of respect, I still think your theory is full of shit, but it's interesting.
How can it be full of shit? But you just can't say it's full of shit because a woman who has a vagina supports you.
Well, like I said, I think ladies are probably a little bit more familiar with this stuff. And given that this lady has probably multiple 3D printed versions of it, I mean, well, this is the new world that we're in. We're going into the brave new age.
I think people should be more aware about their vaginas.
Oh.
Look, legit outlaw says, but you can't look down and see it. You need something else to see it. Right? You can't just look at it. I go to the shower, I take a whiz, I see my pee-pee. It's everywhere, Everywhere I see my penis. There it is.
When I was 95 kilos, I couldn't see it. It was kind of disturbing. I was going to send out a rescue party for it. It took 6 months of dieting before I could find it again, which actually is long enough to declare it officially dead, to quote Fat Bastard. But anyway,
Random guy. He's a sculptor. Which one would you say is easier to sculpt, a penis or a vagina? Come on.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Okay. At this point, I'm going to raise the hand of discomfort and take complete ownership of this as the person who irresponsibly raised it as a topic.
Vagina envy? Nobody has vagina envy. Everyone has penis envy.
Well, some maybe you do. I'm perfectly comfortable. So with other news in Japan, and speaking of,
I win this round. I call victory in this round.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. In terms of the other big news, there has been the collective self-defense thing has gone through, and everyone's freaking out that Japan's going to go to war.
Shudan Jietai?
Shudan Jieken.
Jieken, yes.
That's right. So that's been happening, which apparently in Korea they think that they should have been given, they should have been asked and given a veto on it, which I'm sure they would have very thoughtfully considered and decided to give the right to invade other countries back to Japan. But they didn't get it. There have been lots of protests about it. There was actually, so you talk about as well about all the freaking out local politicians. You know how they had the Yaji problem in the Tokyo Assembly, and then they had that kind of freaking out crying guy in the Kobe Assembly.
The heckler who told the woman go get married and wanted you to have babies, right?
So apparently Tokyo, there must be a bit of a Tokyo-Osaka, Kansai rivalry thing happening again, because after Kansai got all the attention with the crying baby guy, this time the communist representative from Nakano. Nakano is a classy neighborhood, by the way. I was kind of surprised that they elected the communist representative, but apparently he's just had to resign now because apparently some troll on Twitter, and this was on Twitter. This is the other problem with old people on Twitter. They don't quite get that they're being trolled.
A Twitter troll took someone down?
Yeah, so basically there was a guy on Twitter, like, so the communists are rabidly against the collective defense thing, right? They're the pacifist party. So this is the hippie pacifist communist hipster from Nakano is getting trolled by this guy when he's saying I'm absolutely against the collective defense thing. Some guy was mailed back and said we should just get all of the shut-ins and all of the retards and dorks and we should send them off to some war. To which the distinguished representative from Nakano said, "You are a piece of scum. You should die."
Wow.
And he's had to he's resigned. And it's just a stupid pissing contest on Twitter. But the distinguished representative from Nakano, a pacifist who told someone to die and called him scum, has now had to resign his seat in the Tokyo Parliament as a result.
Well, that's a shame. I actually kind of agree with him.
Well, yeah, yeah. So this is.
I wonder what he thinks about vaginas.
Sorry. You take me back to that. Yes.
What does he think about vaginas?
What does he think about? What's the official position of the Communist Party of Japan on vaginas?
Vaginas for everyone.
Hey, probably 4 or 5. I mean, they're into sharing. But yes.
That's something. Let me ask you. I don't know if you had time. I did a video about showing your ID to police last week.
Oh, I saw you upload it. I didn't watch it, but I saw it. I don't watch something. But you talked with Ado about how to sue someone in Japan last week, right?
Yes, last week. Yes, that was. Oh, just a minute. Yeah. It happened again. Another T-shirt. Another T-shirt. There we go. Thank you very much. Getting closer and closer. 20 left now. Ado was great. Actually, Ado, he helped out with that video last week. He knows a bit about suing people, so he talked to us about that last week. That was interesting. And he also did a blog post, which I was interested in this topic before I knew he did this, but he did a blog post about showing your ID to cops and whether you have to or not.
Right.
And I was responding to a guy on YouTube who was being kind of a dick, I think, to him and his buddy were being dicks to police officers who asked for the ID. And so I did a video just responding to it and explaining that you actually have to, unless, well, the question is, unless they're supposed to have reason. They're supposed to have some reason to ask you for ID.
I mean, with foreigners, I mean, really? That's interesting. It actually, Ibido has a good page.
But it's a vague, they just have to think maybe you're about to commit a crime or you just committed a crime, or it's a crime area. In Shinjuku, there's crime, so you can argue, well, yeah, they're in the right area.
But the thing is, well, technically, if you're a foreigner, I mean, I know most countries. I know when I was in Spain, we were told we actually had to carry our full passports around with us everywhere, and the police can stop and ask any foreigner any time for their passport. because there's a presumption that if you are not Spanish, that you could, there is the risk that you could be illegally in the country. And so they can ask anyone who they are pretty sure is not a local person, and that's understood. So I kind of presume the same principle applies in Japan, although I've almost never been asked for it.
I've never been asked. I've never been asked. Never.
Have you never been stopped and asked for ID by the police?
No.
Not once?
No. Never. It's amazing.
And how many years is that? How many years? It's 20 years.
23 years.
Okay. I've been here 15 years. I've been stopped once, which was I was drunk and I left my bicycle by the train station. And I went in the middle of the night to go and pick it up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the light was broken.
That's suspicious. You should be stopped.
And so the light was broken, so I was riding on my beat-up old bicycle 3 o'clock in the morning without the light past a call bum, and the police were thoughtful enough to run out and stop me and ask for my identification to check that I own the bicycle, which I did.
Yeah, well, they stop Japanese for that too. I've seen cops stopping Japanese quite often for that.
Yes, in fact, probably they would have stopped me totally, whether I was Japanese or Gaijin or whatever. Just the whole situation was a bit.
Never been asked. 9 years in Japan, never been asked. So.
And I very cheerfully showed them my ID and confirmed ownership of my bicycle, and they very friendlily allowed me to go home. And in 15 years, that's the only time I've ever been stopped and asked for ID by the police. The other time I've told you about, the other time I've really been stopped and questioned in a threatening way by the police was at Narita Airport. I told you about this where they asked me if I had marijuana.
No, I don't remember.
Oh, no. Oh, I've mentioned the story before, but basically I'd come back from Thailand surfing. I'd come through Australia, and I had a huge surfboard with me, and I've been surfing in Thailand. And so I had kind of a huge surfboard, a longboard surf bag. I'm like bright red head to toe. I'm wearing like really crappy clothes and a rucksack, and I'd grown out my beard a little bit. And I look like I look like some sort of hobo. And yeah, they stopped me and they said, do you have any dangerous or prohibited goods? And I said, nope. And they said, do you know what those are? And I said, well, they're probably things like guns and, you know, I don't know, prohibited lighters and stuff like that. And the guy looked at me and he said, sir, have you ever heard of marijuana? And I said, yes, I've heard of marijuana. And he said, you came from New Zealand, didn't you? Do they have marijuana in New Zealand? And I said, yep, they have lots and lots of it, but I didn't bring any of it with me. And he laughed. He laughed, and he waved me through without looking at any of my bags. So he was just testing me to see if I was nervous.
One of my fondest memories of being questioned is the negative question, don't you? So some guy says, don't you have pornography? Don't you have any guns? Like he seemed disappointed. Like, no, I'm sorry. We're all out. Yeah, I left it all back.
That's it. I left it all back at home. It's gone. But yeah.
Listen, I've got a class, so I've got to run. I don't know if you'll be back in 30 minutes. But anyway, a couple of things. One important thing. September 6th. The party set for September 6th. The Tokyo YouTube party.
September 6th, Tokyo. It's going to be we're going to set it up the same way as last year, except it will be in the evening, not during the day. We'll try to get an evening time. I'm still negotiating about the time and the price, but it should be the same Nomi Hodai price, whatever. And we're going to book the same place, Tokyo Sports Cafe. September 6th. Mark it in your calendars. It's close to Victor's birthday.
Save the date. Save the date. And I'll try to log on in 30 minutes if you're here, but if not next week on my channel.
But yes. So everyone mark that in your calendars. That's the weekend, the Saturday that you want to be in Tokyo, September 6th, and that's going to be the YouTube summer party in Roppongi.
And get a T-shirt.
Wear the T-shirts. show you're part of the tribe.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you later. So, okay, I thought he'd never leave, honestly. Some guys. So, you know what, this is kind of good. So, I'm going to reverse go through the comments, go through the most recent ones first. But I can talk with you guys now. So, I'm going to do this into the regular show. So, Kofai, are you a New Zealander? Hey, what is the song? One day at Tanifa, went swimming in the Moana. The last line of that is under the Kofai tree. That's cool. Okay, New Zealand name, Kofai, good name. You lived in Osaka for a few years. You're a blonde female. I used to be a blonde dude, but now it's more skin. And got stopped countless times. Always made you feel a bit shit. Yeah, you're a Kiwi. Really, you got stopped lots of times, like in the street? Well, I guess if you're in a shitty neighborhood, or if you're around dodgy Gaijins, or you're seen in that group, and I know in Tokyo as well, I know lots of people who do complain about getting pulled up all the time. In fact, I know one guy who worked as an investment banker, super well-paid guy, but he would kind of dress a bit scruffy, and he'd have to work on U.S. stock market time. So he would always commute up and down Yasukuni Dori in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning on his bicycle. And he says he'd had trips where he was like stopped on a single trip at like 4 or 5 koban, like 4 or 5 different police boxes along the road on the same trip at night. And this would happen like on multiple days, with the same police officers still stopping him and asking him his ID, and he was getting very frustrated by it. And this guy was, and he wasn't the hookers and blow investment banker. He was basically a linguistics guy, very straight-laced guy, but who was just commuting late at night. So it definitely does happen to some people, and I know as well that they can sometimes feel kind of crap about it. So there's definitely that. Yeah, Kiwi. So Peter Subarashi was stopped in Tokyo by police for the first time, walking in a quiet neighborhood, mainly because you're foreign and because the cops seemed bored. Although, I mean, I go through a lot of boring neighborhoods with cops, and I don't know what it is, but yeah, I guess that they do that. Bad Red in Yayati is asking, did you surf in Sendai? To someone who surfed in Sendai. If you're asking me, I've surfed in Fukushima, and the best surfing of my entire life was in Fukushima, actually very close to where the nuclear power plant is. And the waves there are still pretty good, in spite of everything, although I haven't been back, obviously. There is awesome surfing in Sendai. Tohoku's got awesome surfing. Araki Mike is saying, in 1 year, your black friend was stopped by cops 5 times. Well, in my investment banker friend, who was stopped 5 times in one night and every day of the week on his commute to and from work, was the whitest guy you'll ever meet. I could be wrong about this, and I guess guys like Loco in Yokohama, Baye McNeil, maybe he's got a stronger view on this. I don't have a perception, and maybe this is because I'm a white guy, that there is particularly harsher. Well, you know what? There probably is. I mean, generally speaking, white people get a pretty good ride everywhere, and this is actually, there are themes about the whole talk about being white and how great it is to be white everywhere as opposed to any other race. And that's probably true. We do get an easier ride than other races, but generally speaking, I don't think there's any special. Well, there's no historical basis to have any special prejudice against black people other than what Western media portrays black people as, which does have some negative impact, but I don't know that they get a particularly special ride. I mean, even people in the comments here do get stopped all the time, who are, for example, the blonde Kofi and so on. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it can be a factor. It can be a factor if, police have a negative stereotype. Which is something as well that they don't really receive the same sort of training and so on for in Japan. So perhaps very sad to hear if that's the case. Philippe, sorry, I'm gonna mispronounce your name if I say it, but I'm gonna say Desjardins Pro. Speaking of governments regulating sex, yes, you're like Canada's will try to abolish prostitution, nothing less. When you say they will abolish prostitution, you mean they'll abolish the prohibition on prostitution, or they will actually abolish prostitution? Is it legal there now or not? They actually, in New Zealand, and this is after I left, so I kind of missed the party if there was a party about it, but they did actually completely deregulate. They legalized prostitution in New Zealand. And I was actually involved. I was at law school in New Zealand when we were having debates around this, and it was interesting. The thing about prostitution is that a lot of the feminists took the two extreme sides for and against it. There were feminists who said that prostitution represents the monetization and exploitation of women's bodies for men's objectification and self-gratification, on which basis, as part of the greater objectification and subject, making objectification of women. And in that sense, it should always be banned. And then there were the women who said that, the prohibition on prostitution was a way that men try to prohibit women from taking advantage of the assets their bodies have that men's bodies don't have to gain economic power. And hence, it's actually discriminatory against women that women are prohibited from using their bodies to earn a living. And it looks like the latter view ended up taking hold. But it's kind of interesting being in a feminism and law constitutional tutorial and being involved with the people who made that decision on legalization and hearing the completely polar opposite views, both being feminist views. And, I, of course, raised my hand and said, I completely agree with everybody. No, I actually had some of the most interesting debates of my life in that law school class. So it's an interesting topic, but yes, I don't know what they're going to do in Canada, but okay, I'm sure it'll be awesome, whatever it is. Araki Mike also pointing out that his black friend who gets stopped all the time is one of the nicest guys that you've ever known and is not a bit suspicious. So maybe the cops just stop everyone they think is foreign. In fact, actually probably that if it's, well, I don't know, which part does he get stopped? I don't know. I'm sad. It's very sad to hear. I'm sorry to hear that, and I don't know if it's because of how he looks or if they just stop everybody or whatever. But it can be because of the location. That's certainly what my investment banker friend had, and the time of the day that he was out. Pixel Traveler, you're late, but welcome. And the show is available from the start, which you can watch after the video. It'll all be recorded. Night's work in Japan. You bet you can give your white friend a run for his money and being the whitest. Me? Yeah, I totally can. I'm check this out. I am pretty white as white goes. Yes, I can't claim any exotic background whatsoever, apart from a smidgen of Jewishness, which no, that doesn't. Which I think actually only enhances whiteness. But no, nothing. I'm pretty much all North England, Yorkshire stock. So no, that's right. I'm pretty sure I could give anyone. I've got a few worst tan contests under my victories under my belt in my time. I'm pretty white. Yeah, Araki Mike's also been stopped, so that kind of sucks. Wanyang Oyaji, nice title there. Wanyang Oyaji. Hey, but where's Victor? Victor is out teaching the masses. He's earning a living. He's working 9 to 5. He's working hard for the money. So you'd better treat him right. He's not here, but he was here for the first half hour and was generally making a nuisance of himself. We sold some T-shirts. We talked about genitalia. It was a productive half hour, which, if my channel isn't banned after this video, it'll all be in a good cause. We have. It changed name, Yoshigu-san before. Okay, I like the Young Oyaji label. It's a cool name. That's right, left already. Indeed, that's work Japan. Yeah, Canadian government will try. Got turned down again by the federal court to abolish. You mean to abolish the regulations on it, or to actually abolish? Well, I don't know. I guess they're competing with Nevada, possibly. Yeah, Vic had a lesson 11 p.m. So everyone gets that. Leaves. Hey, when are you going to go away? Don't go away, young Oyaji. Okay, conservative government trying to impose will probably be considered anti-constitutional. Oh, so banning it. Okay, so it was legal. Well, that's interesting. They're almost legalized. Well, that's interesting. In regards to stopping people, one Oyaji says that you don't have the years of experience, but being half Asian, the cops barely look your way. Yeah, and that's reasonable. I would guess that probably if they could identify you as Chinese in some places like Yokohama or, Korean and Kabukicho, they might pay unwanted attention. But, that's right. Koreans and Chinese, if they want to blend in, all you have to do is kind of dress the same and walk the same and speak Japanese, and you can totally blend in. Someone like me, I always look like a hooligan. But I've never been stopped. 15 years. Well, great to be white. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Who knows? Daniel B, yes, you. That's right. Daniel B did the awesome cartoon thumbnail and loved it, and that's going to be the thumbnail for today. And you are awesome, Daniel B. And actually, you know what I'm going to do right now? Daniel B. Oh, so you've got some awesome kind of drawing things for you. I've just subscribed to your channel because your drawings are awesome, and I like your header, by the way, also. So thank you for that. And yes, your cartoon thumbnail was really, really cool, and I really appreciate it. Wikipedia, very, very, very. So brothels are legal in Ontario, and they changed the laws that buying sex on the street is illegal, but selling it is not. Right. Well, okay. So that's basically so they prosecute the customers and not the ladies, which, yeah, sounds fair enough to me. I don't know, although it does make it easy to entrap people, I suppose. I'm thinking of Reno 911 episodes with that, but Busan Kevin, curious, someone who lives in Tokyo. I get the T-shirt, by the way. This is just a random souvenir, but yes, Busan Kevin. So curious. By the way, everyone go and subscribe, of course. You already know who Busan Kevin is. Go and follow his podcast, however, as well, because he's doing a good job on that. Oh, by the way, sorry, before I get into that, Bashigo is asking, did I see the video by Hikosaemon where he was stopped by the police because he was filming in the street? No, I did not. I'll go and check that out, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the story with that. I'm looking forward to the happy video when it comes out. Busan Kevin, so do I ever get the craves to get the heck out of the bustling city? Seems that living in Tokyo during the summer heat must be brutal. Yeah, good question, Kevin. Good question, Kevin. Do I ever get the craving to get out of Tokyo in the crazy heat? Well, the first thing is that I know that although Tokyo heat is indeed crazy, and getting out, just even out into the suburbs of Tokyo, can be like a 5-degree difference. Although truth is, if you go inland, it does get hotter. If you go to like Saitama or Tatebayashi or Yamanashi, they get hotter than Tokyo. Truth is as well that although Kobe being a coastal city, I guess you guys get some breezes, but Osaka, Kyoto are hotter than Tokyo, and that's part of actually the reason. One of the main reasons they moved the capital from Kyoto to Tokyo was because that the climate, the summers and winters in Tokyo are more mild than in Kansai, which isn't to say that they're mild. They're not mild at all, but they're better. I guess I like to go surfing and doing stuff like that, but truth is, if I wanted to get out of the bustle of Tokyo, I'd go back to New Zealand. If I got tired of the crazy climate, I'd go back to New Zealand. But truth is, I've lived, 13 years in New Zealand, 10 years in Australia. I mean, 15 versus 13 in New Zealand. I've now outlived the time here, but I've lived long enough in quiet, nice climate places. I mean, I came here for the bustliness, and I'm still good with it, although I must admit, having a family now. I am going on vacation to Kumamoto at the end of the month, and we'll be going to the plateau near Mount Aso, which will be pretty cool. It's meant to be like 2,000 meters up, which I guess in the middle of summer means it should be quite nice and cool. Another place that a lot of people from Tokyo like to go to is Karuizawa, which I've never been to, but it's up in the mountains. I think it's Nagano Prefecture. And again, with the altitude there, they have lovely, lovely, pleasant summers, and a lot of summer camps, and a lot of foreigners have holiday homes up there. They can ski there during winter, and they have beautiful, mild summers, and it's like a bullet train ride from Tokyo. So there is that, and I've done a summer rugby camp in Sugadaira. So getting up into the mountains or going to Hokkaido seems to be the best ways to get away from the heat during summer. Me personally, no, I'm kind of cool with it. Although I must admit that the summers here are crap, and I came to and from work covered in sweat today, and I can't wait for it to be autumn. But even for all that, I like Tokyo. I've got a blow up pool which I put on the deck, and I fill up with hose water and sit in during the. I'm going to start doing that from the weekend. You can do things. I don't know, how is it in Kobe, Kevin? What do you do? But personally, I'm okay with it. Although I guess I still like being in Tokyo. Going down, good question from Busan Kevin. Wikipedia. So yeah, they're making it safer but not abolishing it. Yeah, which is fair enough. Legit outlaw. That's what it sounds like. Yes. Talking about that. Busan Kevin, 6 years in Japan. Mind you, in Kobe, never stopped once by the police. Well. Victor lives in the red light district, or he works around there, near the. He works in a bad area, relatively bad area in Kobe. He's lived there in Nagoya, and he's been there for 23 years, and he's never been stopped. Me once, and I was totally asking for it. So I don't know. I think the whole idea, you can read a lot of blogs, and there are certainly experiences by people which are totally legit that they do get stopped quite often, and I don't know why that is, whether it's because of where they live, or because of who the local cops are, or because of the area that they're in, or I don't know what it is, but there are certainly, and you can get the wrong impression by reading those people that all foreigners get stopped all the time in Japan. My experience of the people around me is that it happens to people more infrequently, which makes it more interesting to hear the stories about when it does happen, but it doesn't generally happen to most people, indeed as it doesn't to Busan Kevin. Bevan, maybe the boldness is the key to skipping the police. Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. They're thinking, man, you've suffered enough. Move along. Nothing to see here. This is not the Gaijin terrorist that I'm looking for. He's clearly too bold to be it. Yes, that's possibly it, Bevan. Thank you. I'm going to sleep better tonight. I did have hair when I got here. I did actually have hair when I got here. I've got photos to prove it, but yeah, and actually it's funny. I've had a dinner sitting around with a bunch of other guys, and we were all about 27, 28 at the time. We'd all been in Japan for about 5 or 6 years. And we'd all noticed the same thing. We'd all noticed there were a few things that we had in common. We'd all been in Japan for the same duration of time. We were all pretty fluent at Japanese and worked inside Japanese companies. We all kind of were about to get married or had kind of steady girlfriends and stuff like that. And we all had the same receding hairline, and we'd gone through, and we talked about, to tell the truth, this is very metro. This is getting very metro, but stuff which, this isn't a conversation I would ever have in New Zealand, but we talked about, I was saying, like, I don't know what it is. I've got so much more chest hair now than I used to have. I think it's the humidity. And they're like, yeah, I had the same thing. It's got to be the humidity. I've got all this chest hair. I've been losing my head here. And someone else said, and this is another thing I noticed, if you ever look on the train at foreigners who like read Japanese newspapers and stuff like that, I mean, if you well, put it this way, if you go to Australia or America and you look around at all the men who are walking around on the street, the adult men, and you look at the proportion, the ratio of bald people to non-bald people, you know, bald people are like 1 in 10, if that, maybe in most places in Australia that I've been to or in America. But you come to Japan and the foreigners that you see, it's a much, much higher ratio. It's about half from what I've observed, you know, for you know, 25 and above. And more than that, I actually said, look at any foreigner who's reading on the train. If they're reading a Japanese newspaper or a Japanese magazine, I guarantee you 80% or more will have a hairline like mine. And everyone, you know, and other people backed me up on that. And I was like, there must be something to this. It must be the stress of learning Japanese, and the humidity causes the hair loss, and the humidity causes the body hair. And I actually believed this myself for about 10 years. And then it was actually my last job. I was talking with an Australian girl about this. And she kind of looked at me like, you know, what kind of weirdo idiot are you? You realize that that's testosterone pattern, you know, that extra hair growth on the body and hair loss on top. That's testosterone-based hair growth and loss. And so, you know, you've probably had enhanced levels of testosterone since being in Japan. And I thought about it, and I thought, yeah, that's right. And it's actually true as well. Japanese guys I know as well who have ended up like this. I used to have a boss in the gift shop in New Zealand. He was a TV producer on a kind of a girly show, and he's had a really, really good life in terms of testosterone use. And the thing about middle-aged guys who end up like this is that generally they're very, very mellow, easygoing guys because they've done all that, they've gotten all that stuff out. You know, and this is the result. This is the byproduct, I guess, which is designed to let people who still have hair a chance. But it's kind of funny. I was convinced it was because of the climate. I was convinced it was because of Japanese learning. And then someone pointed out, no, you've just been generating too much testosterone, which is probably true. But as a result, I'm all mellowed out and testosterone out. No, I'm totally laid back and easy about everything. So there you go. That was kind of an interesting thing with that. I don't know. So people in the crowd, has anyone found that being in Japan is a cause hair loss or body growth? Because it's an actual thing. Seriously, you get together with, especially with Japanese speakers. For logical reasons, I'm not going to put the logic together for you, but it's there. Araki Mike saying, you're on the way to being bald, but it never seemed to help you. So I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it, but it's an interesting theory. There are lots of interesting theories in this world. One young Oyaji points out that when Tikio-san was stopped in the street, it was like 3 a.m. Yeah, and he lives in dodgy neighborhoods as well, generally as well. I mean, the last place he lived in was literally the import white slavery crack whore capital of Japan. And I guess in that neighborhood, he probably looked like the most upright citizen. That's probably why he was never stopped there. Maybe it's because he's moved to a good neighborhood. I don't know. I don't know. I'll check out the video and see what I think about it. Busan Kevin points out that indeed Osaka is nasty in the summer, and Kobe is always several degrees cooler because Kobe is, of course, right beside the ocean. I think it's a similar gig with Yokohama as well. You know, Yokohama is very much to Tokyo as Kobe is to Osaka, from what I hear. Ray Renard says that bald looks comfortable in summer. It kind of does, but you know as well, the hair actually has a, not that I pointing to my head and saying the hair when there's no hair to point at. Yes, thank you. Hair does have a heat regulating mechanism, you know, thing with it. It is actually better from a heat regulation, although I guess having black hair like Japanese have, apparently that does get really super hot. It is better to have hair than not to have it. It obviously gets sunburned more easily. You do feel the breeze a little bit more comfortably and so on, but yeah, you find that you end up having to wear a hat, and having to wear a hat isn't really warmer than hair. So yeah, it's not really that much of a benefit in summer actually, but thanks for the kind thought. Finny Wiz is asking, how is the beach in Japan, and where would be the best spot to go? Good question. Most places in Japan are near the coast. Beaches are very accessible. Beaches are not really that nice in my experience. I mean, in terms of coming from Australia and New Zealand, which have fantastic beaches. The areas around Tokyo, there are beaches all along the south coast, Shonan and south of, near Yokohama. The beaches there are extremely crowded. They're accessible by train, so you can get there pretty easily on a day trip just on a commuter train, and you can go to the beach. You can have a good day at the beach there. The beaches are okay in terms of the sand. The water is a little bit, there's rubbish and stuff in the water, and it's too crowded, and I don't like them. Chiba is better in terms of less people, more surfers. Sand quality is not that great out there. It's kind of half dirt, half sand. Waves are great, but you know, it's not clear water except in Tateyama at the very bottom of Chiba. That said, and this is what amazed me as well, if you go by train about 2 hours south of Tokyo on the Super Doriko to Shimoda, which is at the bottom of the Shizuoka Peninsula, the place where Perry first came to Japan and opened up in, you know, the Meiji period by opening up Japan. The beaches down there are some of the best beaches I've ever seen in the entire world. It's a famous diving spot because of the clarity of the water. They have excellent surfing, and the white sand beaches, the silicone sand beaches down there, are as good or better than any beach I've ever seen in Australia. It's actually, I think, one of my favorite beaches in the world is in Shimoda, and it's 2 hours from Tokyo. You got to get on a train for it. Also, I've been to fantastic beaches in Fukushima, which I guess I don't know how they are since the tsunami and everything else. But you know, actually, Tohoku is famous. You know, like, and not just the Pacific side, but also the Japan side. Places like Toyama, I mean, there are great places all over Japan. Even Hokkaido, they've got a great surfing culture up there and good beaches. Kyushu, Miyazaki is very famous for its surfing and its beaches. Okinawa, of course. So yeah, there's lots of good places to go to the beach. Also, I have been to Wakayama, which is near to, it's kind of the beach area from Osaka. You can drive over there. And to make sure they had good sand, they actually imported a bunch of sand from Australia to make a full white sand beach. And it's a lovely beach. It was manufactured artificially, but the result is good. So yeah, good beaches aren't hard to find in Japan, actually. It takes a little bit of a drive usually, or a train ride, but they're very good, and you should go out and find them because they're cool. And indeed, let's meet up. You can drive there. Where would that be? I don't know, but you can drive to the beach. I guess from where you are, yeah, you're in Kyushu, and Kyushu has fantastic beaches. Kirai Kishimaru saying, you're just from the Netherlands and you study international business. Would I think that there would be a lot of demand for cheese if you open a Dutch cheese business? Yes, I think there would be. I used to live in Kagurazaka, which is the French quarter of Tokyo, and in the French quarter of Tokyo there's a lot of cheese specialty shops, wine specialty shops. But Japanese love, and also, especially with Tokyo, and I don't know how it is elsewhere, but Tokyo, you've got 25 million people, so you can generally, if you've got like Dutch cheeses, which are a thing, right, like the Edams, and Holland has its own great cheeses, there'll be a thing for a shop there. There'll always be enough people and 25 million people to support setting up a shop. The only problem you'd have with cheese, and I know this as a New Zealander, is that Japan, partly as a barrier to imported cheese competition, they have a lot of really strict regulations about what types of cheese are allowed to be imported, and they have really strict prohibitions on use of any preservative, which is a deliberate tactic that Japan uses, because most of the standard cheese that you get, for example, in New Zealand, Australia, they just put in the manufacturing process, they put some preservative into it, and that means it'll just keep for 2 weeks on the market shelf instead of 3 days. Without it, it goes off faster. So the idea is that by banning preservatives, it means that when you take into account the transport time of 4 or 5 days to transport the cheese, it's only going to have a few days to sell when it gets in Japan, and it destroys the marketability of foreign cheese, and it protects local cheese, which can be shipped faster. So there's an interesting thing with that around cheese that makes it a problem. That said, there are a lot of imported cheeses, in all the big chains. So I guess provided you studied up on the cheese rules, and you abided by them, yeah, I think you could set up a Dutch cheese business, and you could do pretty well with it, supplying restaurants, and I don't know, you could supply things like Dutch beer bars and stuff like that. There are places that would want to have Dutch food. I think it's a good idea, and I think you should totally look into it, Kirai Kishimaru. It's a great idea. Busan Kevin, yeah, love the Just Japan podcast, and I think it was on Gaijin Pot's recommended list of best podcasts as well. So go, as was this show. So yeah, go and check it out. I mean, and Kevin's a class act in terms of the podcasting gig. I've been trying and failing at it for a long time. So for a good podcast to listen to when you're walking around, definitely go and check out Busan Kevin's Just Japan podcast. Legit Outlaw, you've been stopped once or twice, but yeah, you have tattoos, piercings, and brightly colored hair. So how do you feel with that? Do you feel like that's just part of that comes with the territory of getting all the dyed hair and the piercings, or does it annoy you that they stereotype you because of how you look? How do you feel about that? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see on the level that, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, you die, you hear that, that way, so that so police might stop you. But you think about it logically, it totally doesn't make sense that someone that would that would stand out so much would actually be trouble for the police in a way. I mean, how could you get away with anything when you stand out so much, right? It's actually it's salary bin. It's a salary bin you should look out for. Those are the guys who can knock over a 7-Eleven and probably merge into a crowd later. Those are the ones the police should be stopping, not the people who stand out. But I think there's a human instinct aspect to it, which I guess is, if not forgivable, it's understandable. Joe Casey is asking, how is Kyoto in the summer? You want to go. You want to know if you're going to die. Joe Casey, you're going to die. Kyoto is one of the hottest places in Japan in summer, and that's why they moved the capital, although the people in Kyoto never accepted that. Kyoto has fantastic springs, and for cherry blossom viewing, totally go there, except the crowds are crazy. It also has fantastic autumns, and you should go there, except the crowds are crazy. Summers and winters in Kyoto suck, from what I hear, although it's a lovely place, and you should still go and check it out, but take a good heat. Taisaku, countermeasures for that. Jason's also more channel says that I will make it out to Shimane one day and feel the serenity of the Inaka. Indeed, I'm going to go and put a flag on Takeshima Island for Japan, which is part of Shimane Prefecture. No, I'm not going to do that. That would be, I would be shot. Yeah, I'd love to go there. But there again, from everything I hear, and I know people who live in Shimane and Toyama and places like that, Ishikawa, places like that on the Japan seaside, and I hear that they are beautiful. I also hear they say they're a lot like New Zealand, which I guess means that I'd probably go there and I'd probably feel quite at home and like it. But there again, I'm in Japan to get away from that sort of stuff to some extent. But yeah, I would love to go there, and I hear that Shimane is really wonderful, actually. I'm going to go on for a couple more minutes. We've hit the hour. So TQ Sam's filming a video at midnight, so maybe we'll find out what's going to happen with that. The weather isn't bothering, but we don't have the full summer yet. But yeah, and I know that America, Georgia, South Carolina, I know that it gets hot in those places as well. But Tokyo is something special, and get ready because it hasn't started yet. Once you start having like a month of days, 35 degrees over in a row, you'll get the idea. Yeah, and the summer here is crazy. That's right, the humidity. Also, Kofi, you like New Zealand dry heat, but that implies to me you're not from Auckland in that case, because Auckland is pretty humid all year round, as is Wellington. And Wellington is cold and humid, which is like just damp and horrible, and that's where I got asthma. Christchurch and Dunedin, South Island's pretty dry. The ones that are on the eastern side of the mountains, because all the rain dries out in the mountains, and I know that Canterbury's pretty dry. But New Zealand's pretty humid too, but totally, I mean, the heat and humidity is a totally different scale in Japan. It's actually, and I know people from Singapore and the tropics that come here, and they say that it's worse. And I agree, but indeed, New Zealand's got a pretty decent climate. A couple more comments. Kevin Woodward, you love it in Yokohama, hot but less stressed than Tokyo. Yeah, and most people who live in Yokohama say that they love it. Ray Renard is backing me up, saying that Kyoto in summer is real hell, hot and humid. You don't want to go outside. There's lovely scenery, but yes. And Araki Mike, you miss Matsue. Matsue is in Shimane, right? You miss Matsue Castle. Yeah. So, okay, last round of comments, and then I'm going to check out. And there's a whole bunch of comments here. So Jason's going, and everyone's saying goodnight to him. Your hair is going slowly. True. Oh, wow, there's a lot of comments. Okay, this is updated a lot. So good night, beside Kevin. And I'll tell you what, good night, everyone else. I'm going to go through the comments after this. It's been a good show. Sorry for the inappropriateness at the beginning of it, but it's all in good fun. We're all talking about Japan news, and all the stuff is how it really is in Japan here every day. I hope you're well. Hope you're digging the crazy shirts, and I will see you on my show Tokyo Tonight at 11 p.m. on Sunday. Go on, please check out the shirts. I'll put a link below the video after this. You can also see it on Twitter and Facebook. I'll tweet it after this. If we get to 29, we get shirts. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week on 2.5 Oyajis on Victor's channel and on my channel this Sunday at 11 p.m. for my live show and the recorded news part. So I'll see you guys later. And peace.